I had someone ask if I would share the storyboards that I created for the Harry Potter fan film. So I'm going to step you through all of the storyboards that I drew beforehand and show them how they compare to what was actually shot. So I'll play the video up here. If you haven't seen my Harry Potter crochet film, spoilers, I guess. So it starts with the opening card, which is a embroidered title card of the Harry Potter logo. Then we move to the Woobles Harry Potter box. I cut a hole in the back of the box so that I could place a light behind it. And we move to this split screen effect. So this was actually two separate shots that are stitched together right here. We did one where there was nothing, so that we have the left side of the screen where you see nothing. And because there was a hole in the box, we could pull our little crochet figures through. And I think this one turned out really well. It was a little more complicated on set than I had anticipated. This is the first shot of the actual Quidditch field. I wanted something really large and grand for that. And you can see here, this is inspired by an actual image from the film. I wanted to include that just to make it a little easier on the cinematographer, who was very patient with me while I tried to describe all of this to him. So we have Gryffindor and Slytherin moving into their different stands. We have both teams walking up. I ended up having to do this split screen because we could just not time it out well. That's my I'm Harry line. Here is Dumbledore walking up with Snitch. You can see the Snitch flies away. They all take flight. Then we go to this above shot, which was also inspired by the film. Because we couldn't actually film pointing up, because that was ceiling towel, we actually hung these sideways, you can kind of see my diagram here, and swung the ball towards them. To make it look a little bit more like we're looking up, we taped some cotton to the blue background to make it look like clouds. And then we went to the first part of the match. So this was really fun to do. We had all of these different figures suspended off of back scratchers that my brother donated. Whenever it came to this side view, we had clouds also suspended on wires so that we could give it an extra sense of movement. This above view, I'm really happy with how this turned out. It didn't look exactly like my image, but I think what the cinematographer did was much better. Throws the ball. Gryffindor keeper knocks it. Gryffindor cheers. Our close-up. Slytherin boos. And then Voldemort starts to sneak out from behind one of the stands. You can see that this is actually reversed from what we filmed, because after I drew all these, I realized I needed him to be left-handed. So if he was only going to have one hand with the wand out, he needed to peek out from the other side. This is also inspired by the film. They fly overhead. I think what the cinematographer did was a really great use of this space. This one was also really fun. Clouds suspended on wires. This was of altered form of a Wooble to try and match this actress as closely as possible. That one turned out really well. Flying towards the goals, pitching it through a goal. There's fishing line attached to the ball, and then a little bit shoved into her arm. So when we pull the line, it moves the Wooble a little bit, and then it makes it look like she's tossing it. We scratched this one because I was so happy with how this looked. I didn't think this was necessary, so we just moved on. Ravenclaw cheers. Voldemort casts his spell. Harry's broom loses control. This is him going, whoa. Ron tries to help, and this was 2 different takes. Our first take ends with us shooting canned fog up in front of him. I added the red wig, and then we shoot the canned fog again, and cut. Looked pretty seamless, I think. This is Harry just wildly spinning. Here is a rack focus from Snape to Dumbledore. This was also flipped because of where Voldemort was. He runs across, and this one was so funny, I didn't think we needed this extra shot, so we also scratched that. Took us a couple of tries to get him to land on Voldemort and then also land on screen, but he did. Pops up. I noticed that his hat fell off in this video, so for the close-up, we made sure his hat was off. Little golden snitch flies down. This is the "You'll Never Catch Me" line. Having just the person fly through the towers, and then the camera followed that way, which I think turned out really, really, really well. Close-up of Harry jumping off and grabbing the snitch. He rolls over to show that he had gotten it. Hufflepuff cheers! Now this is a shot from the first film that I think turned out really, really well, how the cinematographer translated our set and characters into the same emotion. So we have Ron and Hermione cheering, and then Voldemort appears. And that's when everyone leaves the stand so that they can watch. Harry turns around, filming he would still have the snitch, so we had the snitch fly off on set, and then the duel started. So there was a piece of fishing line, and I strung it through yarn. So we filmed it in reverse, where we pulled the yarn away, so that when we went in reverse, it looks like the two yarns are coming towards each other. This is Hermione looking back and forth. I'm sorry for her hair, y'all. I'm not the best hand drawer. And this is Hermione walking up to the duel. And the famous boop, got your nose. Close up of Voldemort looking for his nose, which is really silly, and I'm really happy how well it turned out. And then he runs off because he's embarrassed that he doesn't have a nose. He runs off the edge of the table. Everyone cheers. That's the end of the film. I'm really super happy with how this turned out, and I'm very honored that I had so many people volunteer their time to make sure that this video could be done, because the first two I did, Squid Games and Lord of the Rings, while I'm very happy with how they turned out, I did have a lot of limitations doing them completely on my own. So having the extra hands on set and having people that were just excited to be a part of the project meant the world to me. That I have people in my life that are willing to give of themselves and their time for my silly, silly, silly projects.